Hello, everybody. We're going to do a kind of a live stream today, and I was going to do it later on, but I realized I have meetings, I have this, that, and the other thing going on. And this morning, just got finished taking care of a dishwater hose that came loose, and I had to call the installers because they installed it wrong, and I had to mop up almost a catastrophizing flood where the entire kitchen, underneath the sink and drip down the pipe and into the basement, and been moving things around. Got to throw away some boxes that got wet. It's all taken care of. It was minor, but it's just one of those things that happen. And they came back out real fast within an hour after it happened, after I turned the dishwasher off. So now they got the hose clamped on real good, and they better. I don't want to go through this again. But anyway, so I've been fighting with that. I was going to come on earlier. I was going to make an announcement that I was coming on. And so I'm just coming on anyway without any announcements and hope people are coming on. So I'll put a type of welcome here for people that are coming on. Whoops, how come I ever do that? I don't know why I spell welcome that way. All right, there you go. So someone asked me, said, Brian, are you going to the Uptime conference? I have to figure out what that is. I have to look it up. I have no idea what it is. I doubt it. I have no idea. So anyway, I'll figure it out. I'm going to try to get on the Watchman tonight. I got a class I go to for church, and I'm on a prayer team, so we have a meeting, and I got 2 more meetings to go. So on Thursday night, hopefully, I'll be on later on the Watchman with Jason, Truth Seeker. So we'll be doing that. So I know it's early. I'm going to kind of jump right into this. So we're going to kind of let it roll here, okay? Let me get my situation set up here. With that, you just hold on, folks. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this. I got a short little message. Update. 14 months ago, life totally changed. It actually changed on the 20th of August, 2024, but the 14th was it was about 4:32 in the morning on August 24th, August 23rd, 2024, my wife departed to heaven. I'm pretty sure she departed on the 20th because I watched her die on the side of a hill. I did 10 minutes of CPR on her. And so I want to give you an update on what's life like after these 14 months, and maybe it'll help some of you who are going through the loss of a loved one, mother, father, child. I don't know. What I went through is nothing compared to what a person goes through to lose a child. So maybe anything I can say might be able to help you, as well as when you lose your spouse. I lost my wife suddenly because of the long-term effects of what happened in 2020, and in the December of 2023, we went to a concert down Denver. We saw I think it was Mark Lowry and the Collingsworth family, because I like all kinds of music. I like Southern gospel, and I like bluegrass gospel. I like country western gospel. I like blues gospel. I like the modern stuff too. So we went there, and that's where it happened. We both caught that 1-9 stuff, and so she suffered long-term effects, and from that, you read about all these athletes dropping. That's what happened, and we did not get the the stick in the arm or anything like that. It does happen, not as much, but it does happen. And it was a shock. My wife's in perfect health. We hiked everywhere. I used to weigh 191. Now I'm 200 and something. I'm trying to cut back. It's basically cutting out a meal. I just eat a light meal, and for lunch. And then I actually skipped lunch today, and just and try to do some exercise and trim down. So because we used to hike everywhere. So on August 20th, while exercising, she wanted to run back up the hill and to do one last sprint. And I went to get the water bottles. I looked up and I didn't see her. And she was walking down. She smiled and waved at me. And she was walking down the hill, reached in the car to get the water bottles, and then I didn't see her. And I ran up and I saw her feet kicking and she's foaming at the mouth and all that stuff. So I have plenty of CPR first aid training. Of 30 some years of training in that. I rolled her on her side and called 911, and I thought she was stung by a bee, but I didn't have my EpiPen or anything. We didn't have the EpiPen or nothing, and there was no bees out. It's very cool that night. In fact, there were no mosquitoes, and no bees, no mosquitoes, and then they asked me to count how many times she's breathing was standard, and I said 2 seconds, 3 seconds, I said, it was 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and she left her body. And and they told me immediately to do chest compressions, and I'm kind of like, and I did okay. That's what I did. Put her back on her back, and I had to close her eyes because her whites of her eyes were gray and no life in them. So I had to close her eyes, and I felt her leave her body, and I started doing chest compressions, and I thought she was standing over there, so I just looked up over where I thought she was standing. I felt her presence. And when you've been married 36 years, you feel your wife's presence. And I just said, Sharon, please go on. You can. I mean, I got to do this. And so that's what I did. In the process, I did this for about 10 minutes. Took about 8 minutes for them to get there, but did it for 10 minutes total. Trashed out both my shoulders, tore my rotor cuff on my right shoulder and partially in my left. Thankfully, no surgery. And that's what happened. And so she was taken to the hospital. My adrenaline was kicked in, so I was able to drive home. And got home, I called my brother-in-law, and they came up, and we went to the ICU, and there she was. So I kind of hope what I have to say, because when you go through grief like that, sudden death, your mind goes haywire. It's like you kind of go into shock, in sort of disbelief, and trying to comprehend, did this just happen? We celebrated her birthday in Saratoga, Wyoming at the hot springs on the 18th. 20th, exercising, she dropped. And then I prayed, and then the Lord showed me no. I believe in God's sovereign heals by sovereign will. So, and other person there was with me. My friend was with me too, and they got the same thing. It was 3 of them. No. So, and I acquiesce to the sovereign will of God. I've seen the Lord heal. I've seen Him raise my mom up from 2 drop dead heart attacks in a coma. There, she was dead for I don't know how long. They said several minutes or whatever, and they brought her back and had her in a coma, and I had to prayed for her, and she made a miraculous recovery, not because I prayed, but because it was God's sovereign will to heal her. I understand why now, and I won't get into any family business online. And so my mom was able to be around. What was that? She passed away in February of 2024, and from congestive heart failure. But that was when she had her heart attack. She had her heart attack. Was it 2012 or 14? I can't remember. It's well, I think it was 2012. I'm thinking, I can't remember now. And she wasn't, she had a massive heart attack and she wasn't supposed to come back, but she kicked around for at least 14 more years or more. And in the last year, her heart she got injured. She fell, she tripped, broke some bones in her femur, and then she just went downhill. And she was going to be 93, so she was up there. My mom was a Christian, and I expected that. And when my mom died, I was pretty well shot too, but I knew it was coming, and I saw her 5 days before she passed and said my goodbyes there. But you had time to prepare, it's coming. But when you have someone just drop that you've been married to for 36 years, it's a little different, and it's a lot different. And I hope this helps. So I just want to give you an update on what it was like. That's just the background. So after I got back, my friends stayed with me, thankfully, and I was able to go. They took me to the hospital on the 23rd. We got there about almost 5 a.m. That's a 20-minute drive over there, and so we got there, and it was, what can I say? I was there every moment. I did not get any sleep from the 20th to probably, uh, I would say that I think a little bit on Saturday night, which I think was the 24th. Yeah, she died Thursday, Saturday. So it was, whatever Sunday that was. It was the night before Sunday, Saturday. I can't remember the date. 2024. I think, she was a Thursday, so the 24th would have been there. The 25th would have been Saturday. So the 25th on Saturday, and then church on the 26th. So I didn't know what to do. My friend stayed with me, and it seems like the enemy was just attacking all over the place. Attacked him, his vehicles. It was a mess. And then, I have to do all the funeral arrangements. You have to do everything. You have to get paperwork all filled out, and you're going through this, and your mind spinning. And that's why the Lord gave me Isaiah 57. I asked him, I like everybody, why did this happen? Why did this happen? I've already taught on this, already shared, but I'll give you just a background of it. And so people can understand where I'm coming from. And this is, I can turn to it, Isaiah 57. I'm going to turn to it. And it's verses 1 through 2. And my wife, before we got married, the devil tried to take her life by, she was a victim of a violent rape. Someone broke into her apartment and used a knife, and she escaped with her life. I'm not going to go through the whole story. The most traumatic thing was the courtroom when the district, but the public defender was trying to insinuate all kinds of things. That was traumatic. And so she went through a lot of trauma. And I didn't know that when we got married. It was afterwards she told me. So, and she never wanted to go through torment, torture in any shape or form. And then she was watching too much news. I told her, stop watching the news. I peruse it. I can report on it, but just to back off on some of this stuff, and my wife she was a woman of God. She became this mighty, powerful woman of God I can't explain. As we got married, we both brought our baggage in. The first 3 years of our marriage was it was a little rocky because we didn't know each other like we thought we did. And there's the bumps along the way, but we were faithful to each other, and that's all it took. And we didn't want to get a divorce. We worked it out. and we weren't even going to. That was not even a thought. I just prayed, and I had to pray. I was leadership in the household, so I had to pray. Lord, what do I do? And later, he told me, don't try to fix her, I'll do it. So I backed off, and he fixed her all right. Became a very mighty, powerful woman of God. And some people laugh. They go, oh man, yeah, whatever. She could see things in the spirit that I could not see. That was her gift. She would sit there and go, there's some, she tells me there are dark shapes in the house, and I jump on that. And I do spiritual warfare and go on, because she'll sit there and go, I don't want to sound weird, Brian, but we have a 2-story house, and from the uh, living room, it's straight up 2 stories and skylights. She goes, there is a really beautiful angel standing there. He's pretty nice, and everything's going to be all right. So she said something like that. She could see the I don't see him. She was able to see him once in a while, and she was never scared of him. But when she saw something bad, she would tell me, and I would go to spiritual warfare. So that sounds kind of strange, but that's because she saw something in the future that was coming. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And she didn't want to go through any torture. Didn't want to go through something terrible happening. And on her birthday, I got all her birthday presents. Everything fit, and she was all excited. And then got on the 20th, and she was going to put them up, wash them, whatever, their clothes and stuff. I got her a bunch of stuff. And then we got back on the 19th, late on the 19th. And we went to the grocery store. I can't remember the night or the day, the night. And then we took care of business and laundry and stuff on the 20th, and then went out to exercise in the evening. And the whole time, I never seen my wife more happy in all my life. And so I said, Lord, why did this happen? And he says it right here in Isaiah 57, verse 1. The righteous perisheth, and no one takes it to heart. Merciful men or women are taken away, while no one considers that the righteous is taken away from evil. That person, he or she will enter into peace. They shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness. My wife could pray. She could get prayers answered like you couldn't believe. And it was always a lesson of faith. I drive to a grocery store. Okay, I'm going to park wherever I can get a parking spot. I try to get close, but it never happens. So, and sometimes, rarely, it will for me. So I just find a place that's usually far away. We walk there, and she goes, when I come here, I pray that the Lord will provide a parking spot. And when I pray, I know I'm going to get a parking spot. So she just made me. She was driving that day, and she just started driving, and she came down, and sure enough, near the end, someone backs out. This happened time and time again. She could pray and get prayers answered like that. And me, I had to wait for a long time. Why that is, I don't know. I just came to the conclusion that the prayers of a righteous man availeth much, but a woman of God who has God's ear prevails instantly. It is an amazing thing. And I don't know why that is, but I lived with that. And so we had a very good marriage. And so when I lost her, I went through grief, and I lost it. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't make sense of it. And can't remember all the details. I think someone in a sly, trollish way mentioned that, oh, you deserve that to happen. And anybody who wishes this to happen on somebody has a serious psychological problem. Oh, you deserve that to happen. No one. I don't. If you're married and and you hate my guts, I don't wish that on you at all. I want you to have a happy life with your wife or your husband, and I know it will eventually happen, but but one of you are going to go till death do us part, and I don't want you to go through sudden death of losing a loved one. It's a little different when you're prepared for it, but it's not any easier. The grief is still there, and so I did those videos right after it happened, during it happened, and you can see I was pretty distraught. I keep them up there if you want to watch them on YouTube. You can. Um, it's just how you process grief. So my brother-in-law, he just lost his sister, and she was loved and all that. And next thing I knew, we went to a church where I go to now, and the people there didn't shun me like they have in other churches, or ignored me, or this is where people don't understand. I wrote 2 books, Heaven Beckons and The Land Unknown. And so I get trolled that I'm a phony, I'm a fake, I'm a hypocrite, I'm out for the money. I have I have three planes, I live in several mansions, and I'm making buku bucks. And I'm just scamming people. And it's like, huh. And so when you go to a church and somebody recognizes you, guarantee you get the cold shoulder treatment. 3 different churches we tried, and nothing wrong with anything that any of them taught from the pulpit. It was right on the money, and they taught the Word of God. But when you can't get fellowship from them, and people giving you the cold shoulder because you're one of those, and it begs the question here. It's like, when you realize what you go through with a testimony like mine, and other people have after-death experiences, how we are ignored, lied about, maligned, and then the people don't want to accept you. Why will we do this? Well, because the Lord Jesus raised us from the dead. It was his sovereign will to do it. I'm not going to complain. I'm here. And so I acquiesce. He gave me a gift. He raised me from the dead. So we overcome the world by our testimony and loving our lives not unto death. Okay? Loving the Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul. And he gave me a lot, so I am obligated to share. And I have. And I do not know how many people have come to the Lord. For those of you who don't know, I had docudramas done on me, a Randy K video done. I had a docudrama had about 12 million views online, and the website that it was on was taken off. I guess maybe he was posting videos, and maybe he wasn't that one, but something got a copyright strike and they took his channel off. He's back on a new channel, but it's such as that. And then the other one, so I don't get that many book sales, but it does paid for like a new dishwasher and recently. But other than that, that's about it. You might be able to pay electric bill or heat bill with it, and that helps. But other than that, that's what it is. So people look at you and they don't realize they put you in this mark. And so my wife put up with that for some time. We go out travel, and she would take care of the book table and or whatever, and everyone's accepting and they want to hear. But when you go someplace, and once they find out who you are, it is like that. And so so I go into a church. I just lost my wife, and they did not do that with me. And they accepted me. I told one guy, I think my friend told him, I told this guy, he had a hat on, his name was Roger, that I just lost my wife. He came over and he gave me a big hug. Told me Jesus loved me. He'll take care of me. That's all I did. I cried like I'm doing now, a lot worse, but wow, this is different than met other people that were compassionate, who understood. And that was very rare in a church. It is. And so I got involved in the church and stuff. And so I just want to share how I kind of got through all of this so you can help, because I was asked several times, even at the Heavens Encounter conference, as well as just recently, how, excuse me for a second. Your tears start falling out of your eye, your nose starts filling up too. I had to blow my nose. Forgive me. But it was just phenomenal. And then I started getting involved. I went to the prayer meetings there and stuff. And I always been to intercessors prayer. I can tell a church's life, what they're like through the intercessors prayer group. Okay, good way to discern a church and the life of the church and what they're really like. So they're top of the line prayer warriors. They prayed for me. They accepted me. They accepted me grieving, which again to me is rare. I mean, it was as the Lord was using people in this to help mend my heart of this loss. And so I, my friend was with me, and his car, both his cars broke down, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, I feel so bad about it. It's like, what can I do? And he came up. We're still friends and all that. It's like, my God, it's rare to have friends like that. And he lost his wife, and he would be 16 months into it. So, and everything, and it's just phenomenal. And then I minister with people up in the Dakotas. Some of them live in a couple live in Harleton, Montana, and the others live in South Dakota. And so, but one people from Montana came down and stayed with me a week. Then another couple from South Dakota came down and stayed with me another week. So I wasn't alone for quite some time. Then my best friend Dave Middleton, came and stayed with me for a week or so. It was a nighttime is the worst, and I was at that time. I said, I'm going to sleep in the master bedroom. I'm going to have to get used to this. And it was hard, and so had people come help me clean out some stuff and donated some of her clothes and stuff. But she has so many of them because my closet was in the back bedroom. It was a small one. Everything fit. She had the entire master bedroom closet. Does that sound right? Husband, so love your life. Wife, she had so many clothes. It's like, my gosh, I didn't mind at all. I let her do her thing. And then I keep finding her shoes and keep finding clothes still in other closets that I didn't know they were there. And I can't get rid of them right now. I put some of my clothes in the master bedroom closet now, but I leave her clothes there because if I take all of them out, it's empty looking. And I just, it's kind of hard. And so I will eventually clean it out, but I don't have that many clothes. And I can't fill up that space. That's a master bedroom closet. So anyway, but then I had injuries to my shoulders. I had to take care of that. So it was hard for me to open. I couldn't open up anything. I couldn't grip. I had no grip. My shoulders were stooped. I was in pain. And a lot of those videos I did at that time, I was in a lot of pain. People don't know it. Not just mental anguish, but physical pain from your shoulder. And so I went through the process of being healed of that, through therapy and all that, which was great. It took 3 months to get me in. Whereas before, you would just go right in. And if I would have changed my name to somebody who likes to enter the country without permission, then I would probably got Instacare. But U.S. citizens take a back seat to that. And, Maybe you have that in your country too. And it's like, it was through the people and friends and Christian friends that I had, and the Lord speaking to my heart, Isaiah 57 was what got me through, and also doing the videos. And I just want to thank the folks that came, visited me, who helped me. And I feel so bad about the guy, my friend, who spent lots of money on his cars. And got to figure out some way to help him out on that somehow. But we'll see what I can do. But anyway, it's like, you without Jesus, I could not have made it. He supplied the answer, told me why. I didn't like the answer. It wasn't like, oh, I got an answer and I'm all fine. No. It was, I had to deal with it. And so right now in my life, I want to kind of wrap this up here, is that you have loss. Don't totally isolate yourself, okay? Hopefully you can find some people to hang with, and my brother-in-law and relatives around here to go to. And everybody else I know in my side of the family, they're all over the place. And so I was able to visit my cousin last summer there, and coming back from Tampa at a conference. Went there and came back and went stop by her house. Haven't seen her in so long. And cousins, like she said, cousins, we get together, we pick up where we left off, like we never left off. And that's what we do. And so I was able to stay with her for a little bit. But, I just can't, all the stuff that my wife and I had planned to do was shot. Like I said, I was going to kind of drift out and never do any ministry again and kind of fade out, because I had my day in the sun. I'm fine with that. I'm just going to relax. And all of a sudden this happened. And I left like, okay, I'm just going to start doing videos, and doing the videos, going to church, going to prayer meetings, meeting people, getting involved in church really helped me. And not so much me going, it was the people there, because I'm going to a very unique church. It's not a perfect church. Don't give me and even the pastors will tell you that this is not a perfect church. And so I don't expect to find a perfect church. I just found fellowship, and so really some great people I've met in that church. If I have something, then they'll pray with me about. We'll talk and all kinds of things, and it's great. And I just was not used to that, because being shunned by so many churches, it's what you kind of expect sometimes when you keep plugging. You just, oh, well, whatever. I just want to keep moving. It's like my dishwasher malfunctioned today. The installer, it was a brand new dishwasher. He didn't have the tight enough, and the drain hose popped off, and it was draining. I turned it off. I had a mini flood to take care of. And I have fans blowing in the background. You can't hear them, but they're small ones, trying to dry out some of the pipes that drip down from the sink. And I can't take the cabinets out to dry off the wood floor. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't see it looks too bad or too damp up there, but I think it all went down straight down the pipe, thankfully. But it dribbled out on my wood floor in the kitchen, and I had to mop it up, get it up, and then come down here, and all these boxes got wet. I have to throw a bunch of them away. They're empty, thankfully. So life happens. It happens. It just whatever. I mean, you can't do nothing about it. Just deal with it and smile and say, "Praise you, Jesus." And so that's pretty much what I've been doing. I do not understand why my wife had to die. Then I say, well, Lord, what about, couldn't you just protect her? Why could, I don't know all what's going on. Why? I don't understand this. And I submit to your sovereign will on this, but, and he's ministering to me on that, showing me slowly. And I understand it was according to his purpose. And that's kind of a thing that, you go, wow, don't you have faith, brother? Oh, yes, I have faith. I trust in God's faithfulness. And he said no. What else can I do? He said yes with my mom. He said no with my wife. Don't know why. I actually do know why, and I can't talk about family stuff. But my mom was able to help some folks that would not have been helped without her being there. Quite a few of them, actually. She did a marvelous job helping and being gracious and kind to some folks that needed it. They really needed help. That's all I can say. And so she lived a lot longer than what the doctors gave her and what I was told. And it was her time. And before that, it wasn't her time. So, hallelujah. She has still work to do. So with that, I'm going to show you a few pictures and just go down to memory lane and just talk for a second. This is a wedding picture. I've showed this before. And this is 1988 in June 4th, 1988. That's her wedding dress. The 1980s hairstyle. It's all poofed out hair, but her veil is over it. And she made her own wedding dress too. And back in the background, that clock is a Mickey Mouse clock. Because in the church we got married to, somebody else was getting married in the main sanctuary. We had the children's department. I'm sure we had lots of our little nieces and nephews running around there too. You saw a couple of them as we were cutting the cake. They ran up staring at the cake. So, and this is right around the time we got married. I think after we got married, I can't remember what year this might be. 89. I know we went to Virginia to see my parents where they lived, and went down to Pound, Virginia, where my grandparents' farm is. We went down by Big Stone Gap area. So I can't remember the name of this trail and stuff. So we walked. Everybody, our whole bunch of cousins and aunts and uncles walked up there, and there was a little waterfall up there. And so we sat down, and I think my mom took this picture, and I just like it because she had that's that auburn reddish brown hair she had shining in the sun. This is much later. I don't remember what year this is. That's me in the middle, if you can't tell. It's my wife over there in the green. My mom standing behind me, and Sharon's mom, my wife's mom, over there. So that's our living room with the old picture that we had hanging in there. So my mom is there, and there's mom. It's hard to imagine all three of them have gone on, passed on. This is me without a beard when we were hiking. I can't remember where we were hiking. It must have been cold, because, she's wearing her jacket, and so I took mine off. I got too hot, and I was required to shave for a little bit when I worked for the sheriff's department, and so my wife says, "I can't wait till you let you grow your beard back." Okay, my wife liked to make things. And that is a Candyland cake that she baked and made because she liked to do things. She was a baker and stuff. I have all this baking stuff and flour here. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. So she made that a Candyland box for one of the I can't remember which birthday that was now, and can't remember if that was for her mom or was that for one of the kids. I don't know, but it was a Candyland cake. Because I guess her and her mom played Candyland. I don't know. I don't remember. But the tiles are, taffy stuff. And all the candy's on there, all candy. I had to go buy the candy, help decorate the cake. That's no easy cake to bake. There are peppermint drops and stuff on the side. Oh, man, that took a long time. This is with our niece, my wife, sitting in our kitchen there, and there is her cookies, and she made watermelon cookies. The photograph doesn't do them justice, but so yeah, and she make cookies for everybody and do things. This is her with my nephew there, and she's saying she's number one. She's starting to laugh But yeah, I think that was in Branson, Missouri, by the river. And I would say probably where Bass Pro Shop is, out back by the dock. This is us in, that's me and her, and that's my favorite dress she always wore. And we are in Dr. Charles Stanley's office at First Baptist Church. We were there not too long ago, before all this happened, and we had a great time. Again, we hiked everywhere. You've seen these pictures before too. And this is in the Smoky Mountains. And she's walking across this thing, and she wanted me to get a picture. I'm walking across. Then I told her. Then she took off her hat. I said, "You gotta take off your hat and get the backpack off of it." She went back over, and she wanted a picture taken of herself there. It's her hiking clothes, real frumpy. And then the saddest picture I have is the tombstone. And that's the tombstone I had made. And okay, I'll try this. Mountains in the background, trees. We like to hike. And I always loved holding her hand. So that has a lot of meaning that most people, when they see the tombstone, wouldn't catch. On the 20th, when she had her heart attack, before she did, we're walking down the other side of the hill. And I held her hand and said, "I love holding your hand." Always have. She kind of giggled, and I said, "I love you, Sharon." She kind of giggled like a schoolgirl, and she did her exercises. I did my routine around the. It's about the size of a track. It's just a dirt path and partially concrete, and it goes around. I'm doing my routine. She was going up and down the hills. That's what she did. And I was working back. I was recovering from surgery and all that. I had surgery before that, so trying to get back in shape. And so I chose the tombstone. That's why it says what it says. That's why the picture's there. The mountains holding her hand. So people ask you, how in the world can you... Someone said this. It says, "You're doing remarkably well for what you've been through." I go, "Well, I don't feel it." Especially at night when you're by yourself. It's the roughest time possible. It is. And so I got a phone call coming. I got to call them back. I have to get busy and do that in a minute, but I'll call them back. They'll have to wait. But anyway, it's just, how did I get through all this? It just was Jesus. Well, can other people get through it with Jesus? Probably you can if you have a good background, good family. But it's different when you lose your wife or your spouse, husband or wife, whatever the case may be. For 36 years, we had a really great marriage. We're, like my nephew would say, we're two peas in a pod. We did everything together. We get on each other's nerves too, and I would need some quiet time, so I would go off someplace and give her plenty of quiet time or whatever. We had our quiet time. She had her reading of the Bible routine in the morning. She got up later than I did, and I could do my videos in the morning without waking her up. I can do studying in the morning when she did her quiet time. So I did like 4 hours or so of video editing, or I do study the Bible. And you study the Bible 4 hours, yeah, sometimes 6. I mean, sometimes I took a break for a few days off of it for a while. So I'm going to continue my series on predestination on Romans chapter 9 I just got to put it together. Hopefully I can do it tomorrow or Saturday. Maybe tomorrow. I do have friends coming from South Dakota who's staying with me on Saturday, and I can't wait to see them, man. I'm telling you, they're the folks that came down. I ministered with them up in South Dakota, and these people know what they're doing, and they know how to pray for people. They are top notch, in my opinion, and I know them. And so they're coming down just to visit. They're going to visit go see their son Golden, and so they're going to stay with me quite a few days before they head down to visit them. And he says, and they'll probably might stay at my house when I'm gone too. I open it up for them. If they want to stay at my house, they're more than welcome to. While I'm on gone on November 1st and 2nd. So I appreciate that. I also had another person I know, I minister with, text me, and they said they were at a Chris Tomlin concert with the church group. So I said, okay, if there's a coffee shop nearby on their way back, you can come by, we'll visit. So they drove by. And so yesterday I was visiting with someone from South Dakota in a coffee shop. And it's really nice to have people that are there for you. So I want to just say that is a lesson that I think people need to learn. Even myself need to learn it as well. And sometimes it's difficult. Distance and time and everything can make it hard to be there for somebody. But if you live close to them, you could help them get through the grief. Just take them out. Go somewhere with them. Go to a prayer meeting together. Whatever it is, stay with them. The Bible says, laugh with those who laugh, mourn with those who mourn, cry with those who mourn. That's in Romans there. That's what it's about. Because the modern world has robbed us from that type of fellowship with one another. And we're too suspicious of people, which we have to be in a way. But, I think it's gotten a little out of hand. So with that, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. If you want to know how I got through it, that's how I got through it. That's where I'm at today. So I'm doing videos. I'm blessed to be able to preach at a couple of churches. And then I do the Heavens Encounter Conference, and I'm going in November to 1st and 2nd. I'll be at the Eudora Community Church, 827 Elm Street, Eudora, Kansas. 66025, 6 p.m. November 1st and 10 a.m. November 2nd. So that's where I will be. And if you are in the Kansas City area, it's over near Lawrence, Kansas, and just on the other side. If you're nearby, please stop by, and I'll be heading out there. And so looking forward to that. And after that, I just pray, oh, Lord, please give me some other speaking engagements, podcast or something, because, I got to keep myself busy. And because, now I can, I don't know if God's through with me, he's through with me. If he still wants to use me, he'll use me. And that's the way I look at it. So my life's in his hands, and I trust his faithfulness to get me through and still minister to people. Did so last night with on our prayer team. We had a special prayer session with I won't give any details, but that went very well. And so I'm doing what I can, because this is what the Bible says. You don't want to bury whatever your talent into the sand because of trauma. You just have to learn to grieve. Help people, God, let Jesus send you people to help you grieve and move on in the best you can. I miss my wife, every night. I miss our conversations. I miss getting on each other's nerves sometimes. That sounds funny, but you have to be married for a while to understand that. But we never yell at each other or nothing. We have okay, yeah. So we might be seeing too much of each other, so we'll have to, I'll go out to the bookstore, or she'll stay here, or she'll go shopping and I'll stay here, whatever. And everything's good. All that. So, yeah, those are the things I miss. I miss at night. and the conversations we had, and the chit chat, and the and all of Miss her baking the cookies, baking all those good things. She made such good food. She loved to cook, and never wanted me to cook after I almost burned the house down. I dropped her favorite oven mitt in the oven cooking something and forgot. I didn't know I did it. Then it smoked up the entire house and had a little fire going in the oven. And boy, that was a mess to clean up. And she was fuming. I got, you ain't cooking no more. I can't cook. I'm not a cook. With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. But just want to share that with you. I'll go to the live chat real quick, and then we'll just close this out. I'm not going to be too long on here. I got to return a phone call, very important call. So I'll go to live chat. Yeah, thank you, everybody. See if anybody has any questions. Like what the Great Awakening says, even though we don't always know what to say, it's important and meaningful to listen. And I am glad you brought that up, because most people just let me talk and grieve, which is very important. It's biblical. Laugh with those who laugh, mourn with those who mourn, cry with those who cry. And, that's what you got to do. I know my wife's in heaven, and Sean, he lives over, I can't remember where you live. Is it north of, it's in California. It's north of Sacramento, or it's out that way, north of Reno, along the border. I can't remember. But if anybody, could, in that area, could maybe help me out here, send me an email or a message somehow, and let me know, and I'll talk to Sean and see if you guys can go by and visit him. I think he was injured through some type of medication injury, and it's not, he's laid up. He needs help. He really does, and he needs our prayer too. So if anyone's out there, let me know, and I can get you where he's at, and you can set up a visit to go visit him. I've asked several ministries out there, but they're too far away. Some are in LA, some are in San Francisco. I don't know any in San Francisco. Was LA area. When I say LA, I'm meaning San Diego on up to LA, that 90, 100-mile stretch there. But none of those people could help because it's kind of far away. I'm still trying. So if anybody knows Sean, you can let me know. I'll pass on the info. He needs that. And Deidre Corando. Yeah, I can definitely empathize with you. I don't know what it's like to lose a child, but grief is grief. Just pray that you recover from it as much as you can. And just pray that I pray that you find that close church and some family members to be around to help. That is the best thing to do. So we'll just pray for you too. You find some people to hang with and help you. Yeah, it was a hot pad. I dropped a hot pad in the oven, Jason. It fell in there and caught on fire. I didn't realize that it was her favorite one. I didn't burn her oven mitt though. I think we still have that, but I think it had lemons on it. She liked lemons. There goes dinner. Had that smoky taste. You couldn't eat it. So I don't know. I think what I made was scrambled eggs with potatoes and onions in it, and I think that was it. But oh well, you guys be blessed in Jesus' name. I'm gonna head out. I got a phone call to make, and I got some things to do. With that, if you'd like to contact me, all my contact information's there: email, PayPal, book, all that information there. You know the routine. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. And I remember when I tried to sign off last time, I did not know how long it ran. It ran for some time. So I'm going to go ahead and end it. Hopefully it'll end and not run off for a long time. So God bless you.